Jose Alvarado drops 28 points plus Dyson Daniels. It might be the real deal. We're going to break it down with Chaz after the Pelicans beat the Pistons 107-101. Going to do a little recap. Before we get into it, this is brought to you by Company Burger and DraftKings. Company Burger located at 4600 Ferret Street. Let's get into the show.
First took away. Gas to this. Get your money's worth out.
All right, Chaz, got you on. Thanks for joining late night tonight. If you are watching this video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Love to hear your comments. Chaz, let's get right into it. I thought Jose Alvarado, I mean, he keeps getting better. He keeps impressing me more and more. I didn't think, I'll be the first to admit, I never saw this. I mean, he is truly an impactful player on both sides of the basketball. I mean, we all knew defensively, right, what he would bring, the energy, kind of like he's more of an energetic. He's more than that now, Chaz.
Right.
He's like a fucking basketball player. He is an overall really, really good basketball player that impacts the game on the defensive and offensive side now. I mean, he scored 28 points on 11 of 17 shooting. He looks confident with his three ball. His floater game's incredible. He probes very well. I mean, Chaz, he's fucking really good.
Yeah, what you see is a guy who put the work in. When you look at like Jose's body composition, you can see that, he hit the weight room this offseason. Hearing him working with Tony Parker this offseason was incredible news to me. I hadn't heard that before. I love to see guys do that early in their careers versus if you're like a Dwight Howard, you wait to year 10 to go work with Hakeem Olajuwon. Like, no, that's acquire these skills and the skill set early. I think that's what looking over your shoulder will do to you. You know what I'm saying? When you're a guy who got it out the mud, you know what I'm saying, you're underdog, you're gonna keep putting that work in. You see it with Herb, and tonight you saw it with Jose. Look incredible.
Yeah, and Chaz, every day I'm at practice, me and Five are at practice. Guess who's the last one on the court? It's Jose Alvarado. I mean, I've watched him. He hit a floater. I think it was his first shot of the game. I've watched him do that move 100 times at practice, and tonight, I watched him in pregame today.
Mm-hmm.
He was literally probing and then hit the floater. He literally did tonight. I mean, the guy works his ass off. I'm so happy for him. And Chaz, he's here for the next 3 years for $4.2 million. He's one of our better players.
I would argue he's probably the smartest player on the team. I think he's the highest IQ player on the team. And that's what you look for in your floor general. That's what you want in a guard. Time, situation, knows how to get into the teeth of the defense, probe, get the other guy the ball. He isn't hunting for his shot. His first option is always to get other guys involved first. And if he has an opportunity, he's going to take it, and he's not going to take any bad shots. He's not going to take those those field goal turnovers where you take a dumb shot and it leads to this instant offense for the opposing team. It was really good to see Jose do his thing tonight.
You talk IQ, and this is what I love about him because he thinks small, right? He doesn't try to act big. And I think he got switched on. It might have been Isaiah Stewart, maybe in the third or fourth quarter. I can't remember. And Isaiah Stewart was trying to back him down. And he just flopped and got an offensive foul called. Yeah. And he's just smart. He's always a step ahead. He's always a step ahead of his opponent. He studies opponent. He does incredible work, film work, all the stuff that you want to see as a guy like he's a leader. He's legitimately, I can say, as a second-year player, it's crazy to say this with guys like Zion, CJ, Brandon, Jonas, Larry. He's a leader. And like when he comes in the game, the energy just in the building just rises to another level. And he's been incredible. Another guy, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You know my motto, leadership is loud. That's
loud.
My motto.
Yes,
if I have to question who's showing up every night, that's a problem for me.
Yeah,
but
Jose,
I know exactly
what he's going to bring.
Yeah,
he's
exactly
bringing
what Jose you're going to get. He knows what got him here.
Yeah, exactly. So he was incredible tonight. Another guy I want to talk about. You look at the box score. I'm not, you know me, Chaz. I'm not a box score guy.
Mm-hmm.
I watch the game. There's a lot of box score guys out there. If you look at Dyson Daniels' box score tonight, you probably be like, he really wasn't that good. He went 3 of 14 from the field, 0 of 3 from deep. But you look at how he impacted the game. 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 steals. I mean, listen.
He's a basketball player.
He's overall basketball player.
He's one of those guys that I have a big problem with guys who can't do anything but score. So
Right.
he's one of those guys that shot not falling, can't, he's maybe not getting to the free throw line. He still does other things to affect the game. He's a menace on defense already. He's only going to get stronger. His instincts are only going to get better. It's only going to build more continuity with the team. Didn't really even have a summer league, but you see that professional pedigree being showcased in the preseason because he's playing against pros. He was playing against starters tonight. It's
Yeah.
the Pistons with their starters. And I thought he did really well defensively. Offensively, he just he's not a guy who makes a lot of mistakes.
Right.
For a young guy, he's not gonna hurt you too much. So you can live with his offensive limitations because he's gonna make up for it on defense, and he's not gonna do too much on offense to hurt you.
Yeah, and two things, Chaz. One about the offensive thing, right? He's going to be playing with Brandon Ingram, CJ, Zion. Like he's Jonas. He's not going to be the focal
Yeah,
point. If he's shooting 15 times a night, there's something wrong with the Pelicans, right?
yeah,
He's going to be shooting around 4 or 5 a night. He'll be
yeah,
effective. Defensively, though, right? We talked about affecting the game, even though he went whatever, 2 of 15, 2 of 14 from the field, whatever I just said. He made the game-winning play against Jaden Ivey. Jaden Ivey drove baseline. I think it might have been a 3 or 4 point game, might have been one possession game. Just completely takes the ball out of his hands. I mean, that's a guy affecting the game, even though offensively he wasn't that great.
right.
If you're watching the game, he was one of the better players tonight.
Yeah. And I think when you look at because he matched up against a lot of size and strength, I thought he did. I just thought he did really well getting into the passing lanes, getting out in the fast break with the defense, just generating steals. Because even if he didn't get the rebound, he had the tap back.
Yeah.
He sealed the guy up. Like he did a lot of things that won't show up in the box score. It's kind of funny to say that, but he did a lot of things that won't show up in the box score. And you just see that blue collar pedigree with him. He's for his defense, he's definitely NBA ready. Like no doubt in my mind. Like he's defensively, you need a guy like that in the Southwest Division where you're going against the Jazz and the guys in Houston and the Lucas. You need a guy like that because Herb can't do everything.
Right. We talked about throwing multiple bodies before we get on the show at like people like Luca, right? And the thing I love about Dyson is that he wants, like, once again, I see him at practice. He's working his ass off shooting the basketball with Fred Vincent. I mean, he said today in a quote, I work with him every day.
Right.
He literally reminds me of Herb Jones. Like, it's kind of crazy. He is a young kid. He's hungry. He's smart already. He's already elite defensively, and only offensively, he's going to get better because he wants to put the work in. And I see it every single night. Now, once again, his shot hasn't fallen, and that's okay. He understand his role. His role this year is not going to be a scorer, and that's okay. Yeah. He just has to be able to be an elite defender, and as you said, doesn't hurt you offensively.
Right. I think, truthfully, hell, if you wanted Lonzo Ball, you could say personally, I believe he's already at Alonzo Ball's facilitating and defensive level. Because I think he's already at that connector wing, and on defense he can guard 1 through 3.
He can guard 1 through 4 if he really wanted to.
Yeah, I think with the right fours, he can definitely
like he could guard Bojan Bogdanovic.
He can guard.
You know what I'm saying? Like he could guard him. Like, is he gonna guard Zion? No. Like not too many people were about to talk about Zion, but Dyson through 2 games, Shaz, it's been, if you look at the box score, field goal wise, hasn't been great, but I think Griffin fucking nailed another draft. I really do. I really, really do.
I think they address the big picture. I think they saw the big picture. And when you look at these guys you're playing, you look at what hurt you in the playoffs with the Chris Pauls, and you're going to have to see Luka. You're going to have to see Ja. You're going to have to see all these dynamic guards. You need to be able to guard these people like during the regular season and especially in the playoffs. So you're not going to have, like you say, you're not going to have Dyson out there shooting 10 shots. If Dyson shoots 8 shots, that's probably a high field goal shooting game for him.
That's a lot. Yeah. And like what bothers like people like Ja, Luka, Devin Booker, Chris Paul, go down the list, it's length and quickness, and Dyson and Herb have that. And also who has that is Trey Murphy. I thought Trey Murphy defensively looked good tonight as well. He's starting to learn. Let's talk about Zion. Chaz, we talked about this before we got on. Like, I don't see Zion missing 9 free throws in a game. That's just, I think he's a pretty good free throw shooter, but in general, we have a free throw shooting problem. We'll get into
Yes.
that. I thought Zion, I said this tonight, Chaz, I thought he was dominant. Like, he, once again, you look at the box scoring, 5 of 10 from the field goal, from the field, 13 points. He got to the free throw line 12 fucking times in. He got to the free throw line 12 times in 20 minutes. That's insane.
I
That's
look at
insane.
Zion. I look at Zion like, yo, it's still a guy who's this is the first time the rounds are live. You know what I'm saying? And he's not even playing, well, semi-live, and he's still not even playing with the full team yet. He hasn't played in about a year and a half. You know what I'm saying? So
12
he's,
free
of course,
throws.
the touch is not necessarily going to be there, but he made all 5 of his free throws last game, right? So I think tonight he's had a bad night. Like we've seen Zion have some bad free throw shooting nights in the Stan Van Gundy era tenure, but I don't think it's nothing to worry about with him. And you know what I think when I look at Zion on both sides of the ball, whether he had a couple of lapses defensively, but he cared. He cared on defense. I saw him going for defensive rebounds. I saw him trying to go chase down blocks. I saw him trying. I saw him putting the effort for it. Still got to build his sea legs up. Got to get his conditioning together. It's all gonna work out for him.
But you're loving the effort defensively, right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
just think, Chad, if he's playing 30, he probably gets 34, 35 minutes a night. He's still
Yeah.
dropping 25. Like,
Yeah,
he's still on
easy.
pace for 26 a night. Like, that's
Yeah.
insane. And you said he played bad. Like, and this is an off night. This is an
Yeah.
off night. You're gonna be able to live with that, especially with Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum, Jonas Valanciunas. I do want to talk a little bit of Brandon. Is it time to worry a little bit about Brandon Ingram? I know you want to see him in the preseason. It's a toe injury. There hasn't been really, much information from practice. From what I see, Chaz, he's in his basketball shoes, so he's getting some type of work in. I've seen him, working with Trey and Najee on some step backs. I've seen him, working with Vincent. So it's not like he's like off the foot. Do you have cause for concern?
I do have some cause for concern. Be it injury or just organization philosophy going through this preseason into the regular season. I think Brandon is a guy who tends to struggle the most when you have new high usage players on the floor. And I'm not a person who thinks this team has a lot of margin for error. So I think the sooner you get the real team on the floor and start building that continuity and knock that rust off, get that chemistry together, the better. Because I don't want to see, okay, CJ and Brandon misses these 4 games. Now that's 4 games you have to make up in chemistry building going into the regular season. Like, let's say you go 1-3 or something like that. You know what I'm saying? 2-2. Like, we've seen how slow starts have burdened this team in the past. And I would hate to see this team rest on its laurels. If he can play, I would hate to see this team rest on its laurels and take these preseason games for granted.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I'd like to see him play, especially with Zion, and it's been a long time he's played with Zion, and then also playing with CJ. You want to see those 3 guys play. I hope to see him play. But at the same time, this team depth wise, I feel like now. Last year when Brandon went out, I don't know the exact record. They were like 3-19 or something ridiculous.
Yeah, it was bad.
It was bad. I don't think that will happen this year because of the depth. I think that Zion backs, things like that. But at the end of the day, I just want to make sure that he's ready for October 19th. Like that's all I really care about, right? But he needs to play. He needs to get accustomed. And Willie Green doesn't seem too concerned. Once again, Brandon Ingram, I've seen him in basketball shoes. He looks fine, but who knows? If the team can stay healthy, in my opinion, I think they're a 50-team win. I really do.
50-win team?
Yeah. I'm going on record to say, like, I literally think they're going to win 50 games. I really do.
I still got them between 45 and 48.
That's fine. Last thing I want to talk about, because you mentioned up a really good point before we got on here. Willie Green, I've always said this. I don't care about the starters. I care about who finishes the game.
Right.
Willie Green has a shit ton of options now because we
Yes.
talked about this. We know it. It's not. It's. This isn't like a hidden thing. CJ McCollum and Zion Williamson aren't very good defensively.
No.
You're at a point now where I think you can really match up at late end games without CJ and Zion on the defensive side of the ball
Mm-hmm.
with Dyson and Trey or whoever you want to go with, and offensively you can play with CJ Zion. What I'm trying to get my point is, Chaz, is that the options that Willie Green has is something that he hasn't had. Obviously, his first year, he's got a lot of options now. His second year,
Yeah, I think especially when you see a team, I like to view things from a playoff scenario, right? I think when you see
right?
um Zion, I'm sure he's going to continue to get better. I think CJ kind of is what he is at this point, but I do know the team defense can improve. I think it's going to be a lot of scenarios when you have the lead where you
And you
don't.
just need stops to win
Yeah,
the
you just
game.
need stops. You don't need
Yeah.
Zion and CJ on the floor. You know what I'm saying? You may have a 10 plus, 12 plus lead, and you just need to get stops, and you don't necessarily need those guys. And there are always going to be situations where you're trailing, and you can't afford to have Dyson on the floor. You might be down by double-digit points, and you're trying to mount a comeback. So I think there's going to be plenty of scenarios where you see, Dyson, no Zion, you know what I'm saying? CJ, no
Larry Nance, like,
Larry Nance. It's gonna be interchangeable. Like, we're gonna see it all. And it's not a poor reflection on any player. It's just what the game calls for at that moment.
right? And I think that right now, Willie Green, like he's got the great thing to have as a coach is to have options. He has so many options now. I mean, he's got Chaz a legit. I mean, we talked about it with depth. That was like our big concern. I think I'm kind of retracting on that thought. I didn't. My worry, right, was okay. These first year guys, Herb, Jose, Trey. What if they take a step back? Who knows what happens? Sophomore slump. It happens to fucking a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't happening from what I see. Like those
No,
three
no.
are clutch. You add Dyson Daniels, who's pretty good defense. I mean, he's elite defensively. He'll be fine offensively. Larry Nance looks really good. Billy Hernan Gomez is your 12th or 13th guy. Like they're just the MVP chants are at the Smoothie King Center tonight for Billy Hernan Gomez. It's just, I don't know, man. There's never been more talented team in New Orleans than this team this year. This is the most talented team this franchise has ever seen.
And I do think I would like to see, another offensive wing and
Yes.
another and definitely a defensive big, like certainly. I would like man, you know who looked really good to me tonight? What's my man's name? Bagley. I was like, yo, Bagley looks good tonight defensively. Like, what? Like, he looks.
He gave
good.
Zion. Zion went at him a little bit, but he gave Zion a little bit of trouble. But he's got length and stuff like that, and also Zion I thought was off tonight. But
and a lot of times with a lot of teams, especially teams who they probably didn't make the playoffs last year. They start off the season with that enthusiasm, and then it gets to be they go 10-20, and it's like
right.
it's over.
That's it, right? But here's a big thing, Chaz. They're 2-0. The Stars look good every single night. We haven't seen Brandon Ingram, which I'm sure we're gonna see.
Or CJ for
Yeah, we saw CJ for a little bit. I'm not worried about him, but we just need Brandon to get healthy and then see those three go. But the big thing is that Zion's played 2 games. He's played 20 plus minutes. He's been the Zion of old.
Look mobile.
He looks good, as you said, effort wise defensively.
Yeah, the effort's there, smiling every play, barking at the refs.
I
was barking at the refs.
We got about 45 seconds left. I want to talk about that real quick because he was barking at the refs, and that's something he's never done. And he always gets fouled and he always gets hacked. And the problem I've always had with him, like for instance, the Lucas, the Trey Youngs, I'm just going off like the Devin Bookers, like all these guys, they have to complain to the ref, like, hey, I need that call. Right. Zion finally did that tonight where he let all 3 refs know, like, hey, I need this call.
Right.
And that's huge. That's huge because you saw Willie Green do it for Herb Jones game 1. Now Zion's doing it game 2. That's going to lead to more calls and more respect, more respect.
And we know the man of the hour, Jose, he's certainly not afraid to talk to the refs and let them know where they messed up at. So shout out to Jose, man.
That guy.
Shout
go
out
ahead.
To Jose.
He's
grabbing that spot by by the horns, brother. Don't give up that backup spot, brother. That's you got to take possession of that spot. That's good. I like to see that.
3 years, $4 million for Jose Alvarado. He's here for the next 3 years. Speaking of which, NBA fans, the wait is over. Basketball's back, so tip off was season with DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. New customers can make any $5 NBA moneyline bet and get $200 in free bets if you use code BOOT. If your team wins, you win $200 in free bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code BOOT. Make any $5 bet this week, once again, and get $200 in free bets if your team wins. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NBA, and Boot Crew Media. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions do apply. See notes for the disclaimer. Chaz, thanks for joining. Company Burger 4600 for Red Street. Pels are 2-0, baby. Streaking. Bring your green hat. We're going streaking. So talk to you later. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ProPelsTalk. See y'all later.